this week I was really impressed by the rice and beans staff that work here, because while we're only here for 1 week, they're here all year long, helping the people of Costa Rica and their native people. And that's just really inspiring and something that I think we can really take back to Tennessee and really help our local people there all year long, and not just go on like one trip a year sort of thing. And you can really help everyone at home. And just seeing their dedication this week in helping their own people is really inspiring to me. Uh, and it's amazing how they're able to take missioners in every single week and different people in every week and really incorporate them into their team and make them feel like a family.
Where I saw God at work this week was within my own family as we came down together as a family to work as missionaries. It was really neat to see my children just get touched and moved and see God work in them in the ways they're able to help and reach out to the individuals in need. But not only with them, but just how it's 100% of the people that you go up and knock on the door always want to talk to you and pray with you, and I always will accept prayer. It was just really neat to see God at work at that and to see the need that there was here. It's an overwhelming need that we just don't see poverty like that in the States, and to see that here, it's just something that I think you have to come here to experience firsthand, and just to see God's work in every day that we were here was incredible.
Where I saw God most this week was just every day where He, wherever we went, I just felt His presence. He whenever we got done with the giving the bags out to the community, it always rained just a few minutes after. So it was like, He always gave us the time to go out and just help the people. He also just brought us to the people that needed the food the most. For example, I had a lady, the grandmother of her son and the wife were at the hospital because they were having baby issues, and pretty much nobody was employed, so they really needed that food for her grandchildren. And just that just really struck me as God at work. And we actually went back and gave them a second bag just because they really were in need.
This was my first time in Costa Rica, and I saw God through a lot of different people that we visited when we were delivering the rice and beans. For example, one lady, she invited us in and said that God sent us there to pray for this woman. And we went to the back of the house where there's a woman laying in the bed, and she was basically just skin and bones, just super, super thin, just a very elderly woman who was very, very sick. And we just had a moment there where we just prayed for her for a while. And then when we got out, it was just most of the group just broke into tears. It was just a really strong moment that I really felt God's presence there. And yeah, that was where I felt it.
Where I saw God this week, I think, was in community, in a few different ways of community. Community among the poorest of the poor. The kids and the adults helped each other out, and they were there for each other. And also in community of the staff of Rice and Beans. What a tight-knit group that they made us feel a part of their group. And our group that went over, we formed a community of our own in encouraging each other and telling each other about what God was doing each day with the people that we visited. It just was a really great experience, but community is where I saw God at work this week.
I think what broke my heart the most was we went into this woman's house and she was making tortillas to support her family because her husband was in Nicaragua at war, and she had a special ed kid, and it was really hard on her, and the brother wasn't really helping out at all. And it was just when we brought the food, she was really thankful, and she said she didn't have much to eat tonight, so that we came there as a blessing. It was really nice.
This is my third time coming here, and each time I would say that you don't see God in one specific place. You see Him everywhere. But the biggest places that I see Him are in the long-term mission team here that Fred has, that we get to work with and support. They're just always compassionate, always caring, and you can see that the caring is genuine. They're not just here because it's a mission or because it's a job for them or something that they have to do, but they actually want to be here, and they want to take part in all of the lives that they see and make sure that everyone is well provided for and taken care of, and just share God's love. And that's important. That's not something you see a lot in the States. And then you also see God at work in all of the families that you get to go and visit. We visited a lady's house day before yesterday, and when we entered her house, she was overjoyed because she knew who we were. We had visited before, and when we started to ask her for her prayer request, we found out that we had actually visited, or a team had visited a year before. And her prayer request, she began by telling us that a year before they came and they delivered a bag of food and they offered to pray for her, and she asked for prayers for her grandmother. And we found out that her grandmother recently after that passed away. She had some health issues. And in the States, a lot of people would think we tried, we failed, so there's no hope, there's no God because we prayed and it didn't happen. But almost immediately after she told us, and we were all so heartbroken, she gets very excited and just started talking about her kids and her adopted kids and asking us to pray for them. And just the faith and hope that you saw in her wanting to do that she still believed even with what had happened, she still had faith in God. And it was just so strong, her faith. And it's just not something you see in the States all the time.
There were so many things that really touched me this week. Experience that I had today what really cemented it for me. We actually had our fun day and we went to a waterfall park, and I saw this incredible waterfall, and I saw the water coming down, and I just sat and enjoyed the mist as it hit my face, and it was just a beautiful sight. And what kind of spoke to me while I was there was kind of this picture behind me of the city, and it made me think how Jesus said, rivers of living water will flow from within you if you believe in me. And I not only prayed for myself, but I prayed for this city behind us, thinking of all the people who don't know Christ, and praying that would be the case for them, and as well as for our team and for my family, for our church. So it's just special to be a part of what God's doing in the world, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
So this is my 5th time coming to Costa Rica and working with Rice and Beans. Is my 7th week this week to start off for all my trips combined. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I come here so often. And so I really enjoy coming here because I see God working in all of His ways. He provides people to come and teach Bible school with kids in the schools or out in the street. He works with people going and doing construction work on schools and houses, and allowing His love to come through and grow in many ways. And by going out to the houses, we pray with people who don't know us, but want us to be part of their life. And I think that's just a great thing for all of us to connect and be part of other people who we don't know, but God knows them, and He wants us to love on them.
So how did I see God this week here in Costa Rica? I think there was many different things that I could talk about. To name a few is the staff here at Rice and Beans is incredible. This is their community, and they know, they live it every day. And really? And the fact that they can go in that community and they're so humble. The people that we met when we were delivering food is much different than here in America. These people have nothing. They have dirt floors, and they welcomed us into their homes with open arms just for a bag of food, and welcomed our prayers. And most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, they asked for us to pray for us to continue the mission. It was really humbling the way God works. We had one situation where we were invited into a home by a woman. We walked up to her door and she said, "I know exactly why you're here." And she said, I have a woman in the back of my house that you need to meet. And truly, we were her angels, I think. She had asked for us to come. And when we walked in, her mama was dying in the bed. And we sat down on the bed with her, and we held her, and we prayed with her. And for the first time, we prayed for a stranger for Jesus to come and take her home. And that was really impactful. But there were so many things. God was here. The end.
Well, I came to Costa Rica because I've heard a lot about it from like Brandy and April, and obviously it's not just only, it is my first time out of the country, but that's not the only reason why I came. I came because it seemed like a really cool place to go and cool mission trip to do, especially like with my first time out of the country, not it just being going somewhere to like be a tourist. It's like going somewhere to help the local people who need it. So, and I've really enjoyed it. Like, there's been multiple times, like Thursday, which was our last day of delivering food, we were walking up the street and these families were standing outside talking to each other, and they came up and they asked for a Bible. Like, we didn't go up to them and ask them if they needed it. They came to us and asked for it. And then there was a time the first day where we handed a lady a Bible, and she was like, she didn't have one, and she said it was one of the best gifts she had received. And then another time we gave this guy a Bible, and he was like, he really needed it because he didn't have one. So it was a lot of cool things like that where they were grateful for the food, but they were really grateful for the Bibles, and they really wanted the word. They weren't just like, okay, they're giving me a Bible, so I'm gonna take it. They were like, I'm really glad that you've come and not only just given me food, but you've also come and given me the ability to learn about God and that type of thing. So, yeah.
So where did you see God at work this week?
I saw him at work a lot, but the one that stood out to me most was a young pastor's wife. She was probably 32 or 3 years old, and we didn't know she was a pastor's wife, but when she came down the stairs from her home to talk with us, she just began to weep. She felt like God had sent us, which we heard that so much from people, that God must have sent us. And the more she wept, then she began to bless us with words back through the interpreter, saying that God had sent us and that we were planting seeds. And I realize we're planting seeds with the work we're doing here, but I said back to her through the interpreter that yes, we did plant seeds, and now God needed her to help water them, and she just began to weep. I could just tell, being a pastor's wife myself, how despondent you get sometimes, because you know all the burdens of your people, and we had seen all the burdens of her people in that neighborhood, and I'm sure her burden was very heavy. And so I shared with her that our blessings will not probably come in this world, it will come in heaven someday. And she smiled so big and was so thrilled. But I just felt like it was a God moment, that he definitely put us there. And I know April talked often about, you'll find out that you're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, and it's a God moment. And I felt that was my God moment. I was to be there to share with another pastor's wife how God was using both of us, one to water and one to plant.
Well, this week I feel like I saw God moving in a lot of different places. It almost overwhelming, and it was a good overwhelming anyway. I think the moment that I think about the most right now is when it was one night we were worshiping, and I forget what song now, but it was storming and there was lightning and thunder and the rain on the tin roof, and everyone was just really into it and passionate. And I just could feel God moving in that moment, and it was just, it's a good feeling, you know. And I could feel that in other places and other times, even when we were handing out food or praying together. It was just everyone had the same end goal. Everyone was on the same mindset, you know, and it just made everything so much more powerful. It was really awesome, and it was a great week.
So where did I see God today, or this week? I could say I saw it in the school, where the little children were happy to see us come and paint the classroom because it needed it for so long. And the teacher that was so grateful that we were there to paint her classroom. But I also saw God where a mother was so happy that a group of strangers showed up on her doorstep to pray for her daughter that has a tumor, and she's 3 years old and it can't be operated on. But mostly where I saw God this week was in Central. Central has blessed the kids that grew up, that came on this mission trip, and has encouraged them along the way, and has allowed Central to provide jobs down here for Rice and Beans to continue God's work and to share His love. And that's mostly where I've seen God this week, is in Central.
Where I saw God working this week was much deeper than before. I saw the dresses and the shirts that were made, and that we were able to deliver, and the joy that brought. I saw all the financial contributions from our church that made it possible for us to deliver all the food bags that we delivered. And this year we brought Bibles, and that was probably the most touching, to have someone receive a Bible and enjoy that so much, and say that it was just wonderful that we had brought those things. But the moment that I think made the week the most spirit-filled was when we had Holy Communion on the property, and we all gathered together. We wrote our hopes and dreams and wishes on pieces of paper, and we planted a tree. We put those in the hole, and we planted a tree on top of it, and that's our tree. It's a tree of remembrance of this week, but it's a tree of hope for the future as it grows and it produces fruit. It's an orange tree, so I'm looking forward to coming back and picking an orange. So that was where I felt God's Spirit move the most.